Welcome, everyone. My name is Tony Bender. I am the Director of Strategic Services here at Windstream. And many members of my team will be conducting these sessions. These are really meant as an opportunity to help our partners understand better the portfolio of products and some of the thought processes that Windstream has behind kind of the go-to-market aspect. From that perspective, and we will try. This is the goal of these, is to keep them within a half hour. Try to run about 20, maybe a little over 20 minutes for a presentation, and then certainly open it up to questions at the end. These are scheduled for every other week, so there are more out there. If your CI reps or our channel directors have not sent those to you, please be aware that there are more out there over the course of the next 2 weeks. And with that, Rob and Scott, I will turn it over to you guys. These folks are my sort of lead resources and all things SD-WAN here at Windstream. So take it away, guys.
All right, thanks, Tony, and thanks everybody for coming on board. Ultimately, in a nutshell, in the next 20 minutes, we want to make sure that you understand the Windstream differentiators around SD-WAN and how we can apply to your end users and your clients in your portfolio of how you go to market. I'm going to go pretty quickly through this. There's quite a few slides, and I'm going to stick to key bullet points, but there's a lot of material here. And we'll get to the end and hopefully have time for questions if needed. So we're all very familiar. SD-WAN's been maturing since even before it was called SD-WAN for the last decade. And there's lots of different SD-WAN options out there, but it is valuable to the way people are doing business today: optimized performance, security, simplified and centralized management, and cost efficiencies. But we're not here to talk about SD-WAN as a technology and the generics around that. We're here to talk about Windstream, and I'm going to start off, before I get into the nuts and bolts, I'm going to start off with 2 reasons why Windstream, our flagship SD-WAN product, needs to be on the top of your mind, and the first of it is experience. We've been doing SD-WAN for longer than it's been called SD-WAN, or at least longer than the SD-WAN elements have been defined, and we've got the experience of deploying over 33,000 endpoints with over 3,000 clients. Not only is the SD-WAN deployment award-winning, but the way we operationally support it is, and we go across many different kinds of verticals in the way that we can configure our SD-WAN and support them. The second piece that we'll get a lot more detail on in a little bit is, but I want you to keep it in mind as we go through all of these elements, is this is a Windstream deployment of SD-WAN, and we're not white labeling or reselling someone else. We have developed the code, and we own the deployment and the management and operations elements of the environment ourselves: Windstream employees, Windstream development. So the 5 things I hope you take away from today's session is these 5 elements that Windstream has put over the top of all of those things that SD-WAN can do. We've put additional power over the top in the form of our operational support we call concierge, in the way that we've integrated security and other network functions virtualized into our SD-WAN deployment, the way that Windstream can empower the underlay to remain agnostic and be agnostic and provide the Windstream connectivity as a strength to any solution. The fact that we are deploying over our own gateways means that any SD-WAN client is connected into our cloud core network, and there are a lot of strengths to that. And then on top of all of that, really a huge differentiator for us is the digital experience and the experience that our clients get when they use Windstream SD-WAN. And that is, at its heart, that is a core Windstream developed proprietary interface called WeConnect, but there's a lot more that comes along with that. I'm going to go through the slides fairly quickly with the time we have today. But to hit on the concierge, these are Windstream employees. These are technical SD-WAN certified experts in-house that will help guys like Scott and myself help in the evaluation and design phases. We've got more resources during implementation. And then to specifically get to the concierge elements of operations, we will actually proactively be looking at application traffic, and the behaviors and the performances are based upon customized KPIs. And we'll actually reach out back to you as part of our service management and make recommendations for changes and optimization to your performance. And these are skilled resources that, again, take place all the way through the concierge elements of our service. Moving on from concierge, just want to hit on security briefly. There's a lot that could be talked about here from a compliance perspective. All of our SD-WAN flavors are, for example, PCI compliant. We can also integrate SD-WAN because you are connected to our cloud core with our other security services. But ultimately, around the SD-WAN itself, it is essentially a security service because it's relied on encrypted, in this case, IPsec tunnels and managed tunnels. And all of those elements together make for a very secure network. This is part of enabling some of the cost savings and allowing a high performance, highly secure WAN deployment over the internet. Which brings us to access and the underlay. As we're all aware, SD-WAN is an overlay management service, giving application level visibility and control. But your whole service is only as good as your weakest link. And when you go with Windstream, you're combining a managed service provider with our managed SD-WAN, along with our carrier capabilities, and you can combine all these things. With that said, we are still agnostic to access lines, whoever provides them, and from our perspective, our SD-WAN service. And we can take all these different access line technologies like cable, DSL, cellular, et cetera, fiber, Ethernet. We can provide those to the solution because we cover so much of the US, or clients or partners like you can bring your own bandwidth. We're very flexible around this. And in addition, because we're Windstream, we can bring our own fixed wireless, our own broadband. And I'll also add on to this, we also have non-terrestrial microwave last mile fixed wireless access as well that we can leverage as part of an overall solution. So while you can bring your own access to us as part of an SD-WAN solution, we'd want a shot at that first and you leverage our great resources. Gives you one, centralizes your supplier management and increases our partnership, obviously. When we put all of these things together, the access, the SD-WAN edge that is fully managed by Windstream, with our gateways that are deployed as part of our ownership and our deployment into our backbone, which can include internet, public and MPLS private backbone, you get an ownership, an operational ownership from Windstream that lets us get very aggressive on the kinds of SLAs we can provide. So when you're talking to a client and you're aware of what applications are mission critical for them, which ones make them money, when voice is critical to them, when compliance, security, and PCI, HIPAA, these things are critical to them, this is where you can get a full package and a full ownership from Windstream. Bringing it all together, all of these components, different sites, different edges, headquarters, data centers, branches, connected with the access, getting into our gateways, going into our backbone, and connected into our backbone are some of the other services we're actually not going to even get into today: public internet gateways, hosted voice, interconnections to software as a service, and cloud compute services. And from my perspective, as part of that ownership theme, and most importantly, our own orchestrators and our own data lake. So our data lake is gathering all of the data from all of the different deployments of SD-WAN, and on a client-by-client basis, we can provide a great deal of analysis through our WeConnect portal through the data that we are collecting into this data lake. And we're going to get into a little more specifics at a very high level in a few slides. But the center of all of this is the Windstream network backbone and what we call our cloud core architecture. When we deploy any flavor of SD-WAN into our backbone, and we've got two flavors to cut to that chase. When we deploy these, we've got different regions across the country, and in every individual region, we are deploying 2 geo-redundant gateways. So in any particular region that we deploy our SD-WAN services, a tunnel will be built out of every single box we deploy back to both gateways, giving a very high level of redundancy and availability for that site to get back to the cloud core and whatever services are hosted there, or whatever data center is also connected to the cloud core. These are deployed in the same sort of methodology for either of the 2 platforms that we provide around SD-WAN. And these are the gateways that provide all the other services like internet connectivity. When a branch site or a data center or any of the interconnect services are connected to the cloud core, you get that high availability, high reliability, and most importantly, you get end-to-end visibility. And that brings us to a huge differentiator that is developed in-house, which is the single pane of glass that is WeConnect. This is a pane of glass for, quite frankly, all of our own services here at Windstream, but SD-WAN is a key one. There's a business level tier where you can see all of the orders and bill pays and reports and these sorts of things, and some very high level widgets showing performance. This view is available as mobile as well, easily downloadable into a phone. So you can yourself have operational visibility, or you can bestow this on any of your clients and they can get a health check and visibility into their applications and their infrastructure with Windstream from the beach, from a hammock, from the recliner, right through their phone. Very quick screenshots showing how you can see the overall view of the network across the country. And you can see an immediate return on investment from, for example, voice for the aggregation of links and ensuring that each site is showing a quality of experience score, justifying, obviously, that you made a right decision by going with Windstream. The portal does drill down to a finer level of detail in terms of looking at each individual box and the interfaces and where the tunnels are going. And this portal has been developed by us through the input of our clients. So when a client says they want something, we can take a look at it and we can very quickly upgrade and roll out new features and functions to this portal. For example, clients want to use their own naming convention. So we can retag boxes, links, resources, assets. We can retag those and rename them as needed in our portal. It has got two-factor authentication. It is, like we alluded to before, award-winning, secure, and is our gateway to our insights engine. In some cases, the solution around SD-WAN even allows the portal to act as a self-service portal where the client can go in and either at an application level or a group application level, go in and in the matter of less than a minute, deploy a new policy, push it out to as many boxes or as few boxes as they want to, and put that rate limit in. If they determine that there's bad performance from one site because someone's doing too much business on Snapchat or Twitter or Tumblr or whatever, you can go in here and you don't even have to turn that app off, like a blacklist. You can actually just rate limit it to a certain percentage of the traffic. You want them to still be able to use that application, but you can throttle it down. And this is, in some cases, self-service. Clients can use this portal themselves. And I don't want to wrap this up. I know this was a bit of a gallop. We can deep dive on any of these as needed for any of your clients. But I don't want to leave without giving enough attention to our insights engine. This is driven by all of the data over the almost decade of SD-WAN, driven by the development of that data lake and it includes all of that information driving software-defined network database and interface, which is the WeConnect portal. And that can provide you information, provide actionable, like creating new policies, and a lot of the insights information is automated as well. In some cases, it can even actually make predictive assessments of where the trends are going. And again, Windstream, as part of our concierge service, would make proactive recommendations to get ahead of problems and incidents before they happen. All of these different sources of information, the security, tickets, core network, the SD-WAN itself, it all is going into that data lake, and it spits it all out in a very easily digestible and very easily relatable to business interface, showing circuit details, showing bandwidth usage. You can get into the insights and you can run a report saying how many devices and how many new applications were added to my environment in the last 30 days. And as a security audit functionality, that can be invaluable, having that level of visibility. When those applications come on board, you can see across the entire network. You don't have to go site by site. You can see the health of your entire network across the enterprise to see where that information is and what's happening, including looking out for trends. But maybe it was a one-time spike because of a movement of some application, or maybe it's actually a trend you need to get ahead of and make sure you have resources for in the future. And understanding what that spike is and which way to go with those events is important to managing your business moving forward. And finally, we just want to show that we're cutting edge. We're developing frequently and adding new features and functions on a monthly basis. And we can take this all the way down to providing AI and digital assistance, getting access to the information, understanding what's going on in your environment. Doesn't even take you picking up your phone. You can actually set this up to be done through a virtual assistant, voice commands. Those are differentiators for us. When we go to market, we like to talk about compliance, and we like to talk about applications. And ultimately, we're going to go and design one of two kinds of SD-WAN. Both of them are leaders in the SD-WAN space. VeloCloud, very high performance, packet-based routing. So when you have a client with real-time applications, a client that wants hands-on dynamic real-time policy changes in their environment, we're definitely going to recommend VeloCloud. You're going to see where your ROI comes out on that in operational efficiencies and control and visibility over your environment and the uptime of those mission-critical real-time applications. There is a place for our Fortinet deployment, which is our history with that is tied in with our security offerings. And this becomes a very lean, stripped down deployment for when we need security functions, UTM, next generation, and even managed SIM functions at the branch level, and some other kinds of conversations we can have around specific verticals, like a retail deployment where there's a lot of sites that are running up a point of sale and maybe not much else on top of that, but that point of sale is very mission critical. So both of these platforms are leaders in their area, and they have different strengths. They're both Gartner Magic Quadrant leaders, and they're part of a complete WAN solution. So this is our conclusion. I know it was a quick gallop through what Windstream believes is our differentiators and why we picked the platforms to deploy as we can, and most importantly, how we might fit into your solutions and you providing solutions for your clients. I'm going to stop there. Tony, I think I hit you pretty close to your 20-minute mark, and I would love to hear from anybody if there were any questions, or if there were any specific verticals or use cases that would be worth discussing in the next 9 minutes.
Any questions out there?
I will say one thing I did not really highlight, we touched on it briefly, but we could go deep dive on it, is we talked about it in terms of security, we talked about it in terms of being a carrier, but Windstream also brings a lot of other services, including LAN management services, to the table as well. So you can really put all of this in one box for your clients in some cases.
All right, with that, it does not appear that we have any questions. Certainly this team is here to support and help our partners. Should anything else come up, please feel free to talk to your channel manager or your channel integration rep, and we will gladly engage. And I look forward to seeing folks in 2 weeks, where we will do a overview of the Unify or the UCaaS platform and CCaaS platforms within Windstream Enterprise. I hope everyone has a great day.